Are you looking for answers? Do you have questions? Do you want the truth? Are you sick of fake content? Well, join me here at Doof Doof Paranormal, and with the help of my friends, I hope to find what we're all looking for, the answers. This week, I visited the Ipswich General Cemetery. If you happen to wonder what it's like to walk through a cemetery at night, this is what it's like. You need to make sure you have a torch, good shoes, keep your eye out for spiders dangling from the trees, don't step on cane toads, and don't trip over the edges of the graves, and look out for little holes you can fall in. This stone caught my eye. I thought it was interesting that it was flat on the ground like it was, and that's how it was put there. Very pretty, but as you can see, it sort of catches all the dirt, which is such a shame. But it's very pretty, and someone needs to take care of it, and it really needs a good wash. This story was heartbreaking, as many stories about children in cemeteries are. Little Bertie was 12. He was the second child to the Pipers. The Pipers had a baby called Samuel, and Samuel unfortunately passed away at 4.5 months. As you can see by the stone, it says, "Who fell asleep?" They say it was probably SIDS, but of course they didn't know what to call it back then. He just went to sleep. Little Bertie got some kind of food poisoning, dysentery. It led to him dying, which was incredibly sad for the family. Second-born child. They erected this to him. It was, as you can see in what I'm writing, it was destroyed by vandals. The pieces went to a stonemason who repaired it, and funnily enough, he was the grandson of the original stonemason that made the statue. So there you go. Now, this is interesting. You may think that they're all graves. No. In the 1970s, some idiot decided it'd be a good idea to clean up all of the cemeteries in Brisbane. So they had a beautify the cemetery movement. People went in and literally took the stones from the graves, kept the ones they thought were interesting or belonged to probably rich people, popped them all over there, as you can see it, all just stacked, just standing up with things behind them to keep them erect, and cleared the ground. So all those people are still in the ground, buried, without markers, something like 30,000 people. And the reasoning behind it was that in this instance, the Ipswich Cemetery was far too crowded and messy looking, so that's why they got rid of half the stones. Just destroyed them and kept these ones, and it's just disrespectful. The next little interesting fact of the Ipswich Cemetery is this one. Ned Kelly, now Victorian bushranger or outlaw, nothing to do with Ipswich Cemetery. However, apparently there was a man called James Ryan, and in 1933 he went along to a newspaper and said, he told them, "Hey, I want you to know I am Dan Kelly. I never died in the fire that burnt down the Glenrowan Inn. Myself and Stephen Hart escaped and made our way up here to Queensland, and I've been living here ever since." They ended up believing him. A lot of stuff happened which made it all point to the fact that it was probably Dan, apart from the fact that he had scars on his back from burns, and he also had a branding on his hip which said DK. Long story, but the Kellys were branded. So the sad thing is that this fellow went along to the hospital one night because he had some bad burns. Well, they the scars of the burns, which used to give him trouble, so he went to get them treated. And on his way home that night, the poor bugger walked onto the railway lines and was hit and killed by a train. He was 87 when he died. So the stone is still there with the name James Ryan on it, and the placard refers to Dan. And just as an interesting point, Ned's body was found or dug up and then given a reburial. This one's funny. This statue here, believe it or not, cries tears of blood. Well, as it turns out, someone has actually drilled holes in the eyes of the statue, and within it is some metal which rusts, and when it rains, the rust comes pouring out the holes that were drilled, and da-da-da, tears of blood. Some of the stories these people make up, fair dinkum. Now, this story's sad, as all children's deaths are sad, but these two little girls, Bridget and Mary Jane, both drowned in a pond near the home. The littlest one is said to have probably gone looking for the lilies that were in the lake, and the big sister tried to rescue her but drowned as well. The Ipswich Council made this memorial to the little girls because one of our famous poets, Henry Lawson, wrote a poem about them. So that's there. One of the richest men in Brisbane back in the day was Thomas Cribb, and he married his wife Mary. They were apparently separated for 17 years. She was back in England while he was out here making his fortune. When she finally came out here, she had a little baby. They lived happily for a little while, but then she passed away, and the baby passed away not long after her. Thomas Cribb owned a lot of department stores in Brisbane back in the day, and they've got a huge monument, and it's quite a sad story. Out now, folks, just in case you weren't aware, Jason at the Cemetery Road has got his 2023 calendar ready to buy, $20, including postage if you live in America. If you live elsewhere, email him. And then the boys, Matt and Joe from Devil's Hour Productions, have got their Harrisville Haunting, The Real Conjuring House out now. It's on Amazon. You can buy a DVD. If you're not sure what to do, contact the boys at Devil's Hours Production. Thanks for watching. Bye.